Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your NXT Takeover Philadelphia preview and predictions. We have got 5 matches set for this show. One of them has just recently been announced as early as Wednesday, the day that our last episode of NXT happened, by Triple H on a press conference or in a conference call. So a very interesting kind of element being added to that match being our first match that we'll be discussing. But before we get to that, John, how are you feeling about this card, brother?
Brother, I am so fucking ready for this. Not to jump the gun here because I know we're doing Royal Rumble preview predictions tomorrow, but I really am hyped for both shows. I would say though, I am more hyped for this takeover. For this takeover, I'm at a 9 out of 10, brother. I think this card is fantastic. I think a lot of the stories, even if maybe some people haven't carried their weight as much as I would like, really on the whole have been effective. And yeah, I'm just chomping at the bit, for the world title match, Gargano versus Almas. The women's championship match, I think, is very intriguing. Yeah, it's just got some great stuff that it's packing, and I'm very much looking forward to this. What about you, man? What's your hype level at?
I'm probably at a solid 8, maybe even an 8.5. So I'm close to you, but maybe not quite as hyped as you. I think I'm more hyped for the Rumble than you are. So that kind of evens out a little bit. But yeah, man, I'm definitely excited for this. Looking forward to, honestly, I'd say at least 4 of these 5 matches. And the 5th match is actually not probably the one that most people would expect. It's the tag team match. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this show. Do you want to get into some of these matches? Do we want to get into the first one?
Yeah, let's get into the first match. What do we got, partner?
All right. Well, the first match is the relatively new match, the match that was pretty much just made yesterday. Kassius Ohno versus Velveteen Dream. And I actually really like the way that they've built to this because Velveteen Dream took a pot shot at Kassius Ohno when he was talking to Johnny Gargano about how Gargano, he kind of took Dream's spot. And this was last week, not this week. He said something about how Kassius Ohno doesn't look like a superstar. And now after the Dreams match with Johnny, he ended up meeting up with Kassius in the back, and he was just like, "What are you looking at?" And Ohno kind of gave him this look, and he was just like, "Oh, it's not as easy as you thought it was." And Dream said something about, I still look like a superstar, unlike you. And then Kassius shoved him. And then we saw earlier today, another video was posted of Dream working out. And he said basically he said to Kassius Ohno, "You're never going to get the Dream to submit, so your only chance at beating me is via pinfall. And if you attempt to pin me in the ring, I'll throw you off just as easily as I throw up these 315 pounds." And then he did a 315-pound bench press, and he did like 4 or 5 reps of it. So he was basically saying, like, it's that easy, Kassius. So yeah, we're getting some online build to this, and it's been pretty well done. So I'm curious, John. First of all, what do you think of the build to this match? And second of all, who do you have winning?
First of all, I wasn't aware of that video, but I love it. Dude, I am seriously loving everything about the Velveteen Dream character. Like the confidence and the delivery. Like I did see the NXT Fallout thing, right? Where Kassius was like, not as easy as you thought, was it? And then Dream's like, I still look good. Better than you. And then Kassius shoves him into the door. So yeah, I've really been a fan of this, especially since, and I gotta give it NXT credit for this really is quintessentially like a makeshift match. Like it's had little underpinnings of build, but now they're like really committing. It hasn't been as in your face. And yeah, I'm excited for this. Somebody mentioned on that video, that Fallout video that I just got done talking about, that it seems like Kassius has taken on the role that like Andrade used to have, where like, he's building like these other talents. And I think
Yeah,
it's a good role for him as a baby face right now.
the Tyler Breeze archetype.
Exactly. I feel like we could talk more about Kassius Ohno and card positioning if he had a heel turn, but as a babyface, this seems to be a nice niche for him, to kind of occupy. So I'm very much excited for the match for that purpose. I think Velveteen Dream, everything is clicking for him right now. He's had 2 phenomenal matches back to back, with Aleister Black, and then, Johnny Gargano was his next match, after that because he had the injury. But he lost both of those matches. And I don't want Velveteen Dream to be a Ziggler type where it's like, oh, I'm losing my way into the hearts of millions. I would like to see him get some wins. I'm going to say that it begins to happen here. I'm going to pick Velveteen Dream to pick Kassius Ohno, which should really be a fun, presumably opening contest. So, yeah, Velveteen Dream for the win.
Yeah, I listed the matches in what I view as the order of importance, but also, believe it or not, I'm guessing it's literally just going to be the order of the matches that they happen in. But yeah, I am also picking and hoping that Velveteen Dream picks up the win here. He really, after that match he had with Gargano and he lost to Aleister Black, he kind of is becoming that guy who loses. He's basically in that Jason Jordan slot where he always has really good matches, but he also doesn't really win against any big names. So he needs to pick up a win here. Kassius Ohno is definitely one of those guys that doesn't need to win in order to stay credible, just because he is this 6'5", 285-pound behemoth. Even if he's not in the best shape, he still has kind of that credibility just because of his sheer size. So to me, if Dream doesn't win here, I would be disappointed if they don't make some kind of a story out of him losing constantly. And if they don't do that, then it would be a really bad decision, in my opinion.
I completely agree with everything you just said. I mean, if Dream were to lose here, you'd have to mine the narrative potential of that, because here is a guy that says one thing but does another, right? Says that he can beat anybody under the sun on any given day, but he goes out and he loses. I think that's a dichotomy worth exploring. Does NXT agree? Possibly not, and that's where it's crucial, but only time will tell. I hope that we can avert the mess altogether, though, by Velveteen Dream getting the win. Should be a fun match. Nothing more I can say than that. You and I are in agreement here for our first match.
Excellent. Well, then let's get into our second match. And this, I really kind of am struggling to have to talk about this match this early, but the only other matches that we have left on this card are all title matches. So I guess we have to talk about the only non-title match left, even if it is the match that I'm looking forward to the most on this card. Aleister Black versus Adam Cole, hardcore match, Extreme Rules, whatever you want to call it.
Am I the only one concerned for Adam Cole's welfare here? I mean, I feel
you should be. You definitely should be. Yeah, and yes, I am as well.
I feel like that face is in serious jeopardy. And I mean, let's just be truthful here, folks. I heard that the doomsday clock is going to be moved closer to midnight. Don't think it's because of Trump, folks. No. It's because Adam Cole's face is in serious peril, because as we all know, Adam Cole's face is the key to the safety of all humanity. Have I said anything wrong here to start? Didn't think so. So, with that in mind, it seems like it's going to be a really fun match between these two. I'm very much looking forward to it. I love Black's approach to this thing. That he is a human weapon because of his kickboxing background and everything else. I already told you in conversation, and I'm just going to repeat it here because I'd like to see what chat thinks of it. I would love if the story of this match being Extreme Rules, just Aleister Black relying on his own acumen and ability as a kickboxer, whereas Adam Cole, the heel, he exploits mercilessly the Extreme Rules stipulation, but then towards the end, the babyface, capitulates and maybe they do something extreme. Like, I don't know, maybe a chair wrapped around Adam Cole's neck while Aleister Black hits a black mass or something. But yeah, I think it would be just a really cool story that the babyface relies on their own ability and grit, whereas the heel's like, nah, fuck it, I'm using this chair right here. That said, I definitely think Aleister Black is winning. I mean, Adam Cole's been sticking it to him time after time, and Cole's the type of heel where, he's always going to eat a comeuppance in the end, and he does it so well. So, yeah, Aleister Black for the win here, but this has the potential to really be a great match because I think you've got the right environment with Philly. You've got the perfect stipulation in Philly being Extreme Rules, and the two competitors, you couldn't ask for any better. So, Aleister Black for the win, but I think both guys are going to come out so much better after this match, and I'm really excited for it.
You know what I think would actually be a really cool moment is if they had this great 15-minute slugfest with Adam Cole using all the weapons and Aleister Black literally not using a weapon the entire time. And then Aleister Black finally gets the opportunity to use a weapon. And it's basically just a regular steel chair, and he's holding it in his hands and he's thinking about it. And then rather than using it and hitting Adam Cole with it, he throws it to Adam Cole. And as Adam Cole is holding it up, he hits him with a black mass, hitting the chair into Cole's face.
See, yeah, that would be fucking great. Because again, it goes back to the dichotomy that I really want to establish, that Black perceives himself as a weapon, whereas for Cole, it's about survival using any weapon.
Right, exactly. Like Adam Cole spends the entire match just using chairs and kendo sticks and trying to put Black through a table, and then Cole goes through the table instead, and all this crazy shit. And the entire time, Aleister Black never introduces a weapon to the match, but the final kind of sequence. Aleister Black sees Adam Cole recovering from whatever recent damage he did to him. He goes to get a chair, looks at it, thinks about using it, tosses it to Adam Cole. Black mass chair meets head, and that's how Aleister Black wins. I love that entire idea. I think that's exactly how they should do it, and it would make my life.
Yeah, it would make my life too. See, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I want them to milk the shit out of this and get a great story in ring out of it. Because I feel like the build again has been fantastic. You know, Adam Cole, I think it was like his NXT debut in singles that he lost to Aleister Black to advance to the Fatal 4-Way. And then Cole was like, well, if I can't have the NXT title, then no one can. And, you know, he screws Black out of it. And then he screwed him again out of the tag titles because Black is so transfixed on hurting Adam Cole. Like, the build's been phenomenal. And I feel like if you punctuated it that way, that's just another amazing feud in the books for NXT. So yeah, I really do hope they go the route that you've kind of articulated here. We both agree that Aleister Black's going to win. I've got nothing else to say about this match, so we can move on, I guess.
Excellent. Yeah, I think we are kind of in an interesting situation where, to me, the winner of this match is going to face the NXT champion at TakeOver New Orleans. So really, you can kind of, in a way, guess who's going to win the NXT championship match based on who wins this match. Because to me, if Adam Cole pulls this match out of his ass and manages to beat and upset Aleister Black somehow, that's a surefire sign to me that Gargano is winning the NXT championship.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me. And it's hard to, you know, kind of rebuke that logic. But with NXT, especially their championship pitchers, I'm always so tentative to subscribe to one strain of thought. You know what I mean? But I definitely see why you would think that for sure. Because this really does seem like a de facto #1 contendership match. So
it's a
we'll
big
just have to
deal.
see how it goes. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's get to our next match. It is the first of 3 championship matches, and it's also the match that I don't care about on this card. The only match on this card that I don't care about. Authors of Pain trying to unseat the Undisputed Era, aka Red Dragon in this case, of the NXT championships. I don't think they're going to do it. I think the Undisputed Era is going to retain. I don't know who the Undisputed Era's next challengers are going to be, but I hope that it's some team that we haven't seen face them yet. Ideally, TM61, because TM61 versus Red Dragon is holy shit. Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like everything you just said, right? And that's what kind of frustrates me is like you can't fall back on TM61 as kind of a tool to navigate this match because on one hand, we know that Red Dragon is the great match, but AOP has the story because TM61's faced AOP twice now. You know, so what route do you go? So I can't even use TM61, but I am excited that they're going to be back in the mix. Yes, please, indeed. So where I go instead is that Red Dragon is still relatively new in their reign. And even though they've already had one title defense, it was against a makeshift team of Strong and Black. You know, this is a legitimate tag.
Yeah, that's right.
So, like,
and to be fair, Black abandoned Strong, so they didn't even really beat both of them. They really just beat Strong.
Exactly. Like, I just feel like in the kayfabe sense, you're in a tag team division. You haven't really been tested yet by a tag team, you know, as we kind of conceive it. So I feel like this is kind of their true blue first title defense, even though by all accounts it's their second. That
didn't they win the titles in War Games, or was that a non-title match?
No, that was a non-title clusterfuck. They won the titles, I think, like 2 weeks after War Games. I want to say.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Yeah, they did win the titles on an episode of NXT TV.
Yeah. So and you know, I know like with AOP's booking, they're so dominant. I think they've only ever really been pinned one time, and that was by Sanity to lose the titles. And even that was like they were so protected and kept so strong in that you got to wonder like how would a heel team like Red Dragon, you know, find a way to win? But I do think they're going to pull it out. I'm picking Red Dragon because I think NXT understands. Because, you know, you've been mentioning throughout our NXT commentaries how often Adam Cole is featured. And I think on some level that's to communicate like how valuable NXT understands the Undisputed Era to be as a faction.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think they want to keep them strong because you can really tell that programming is starting to be centered around them. And that by no means is a bad thing because they're 3 talented individuals, you know, especially Cole and O'Reilly. And I think Fish really thrives when he's part of a group. So yeah, I think Red Dragon's going to retain because this really is the Undisputed Era, all pun intended. And yeah, I don't think it's going to stop here. So they're going to retain.
Yeah, I mean the thing is too, like you mentioned Fish. I think Fish is a really underrated talker, and he is good in the ring. I just find him boring in the ring. So like I don't want to take anything away from Fish. I still think he's a good performer. I just get bored by his matches. But when it's him and O'Reilly as a team, O'Reilly helps to keep things interesting because it's not all Fish all the time. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But
And
yeah, man, I'm telling you, like, I even saw somebody in chat, I think it was Draven G, yeah, it was, mention TM61 or War Machine, who we know is with WWE and NXT.
yes, holy. And see though, dude, you know what? Like, I don't know how much longer AOP is going to be on the NXT roster because I've heard rumblings again. I feel like we've been through this a few times.
Oh,
With them,
dude,
but,
I definitely
you know,
think they're getting called up either post Rumble Raw or post Mania Raw for sure.
here's the thing though. If it's post Mania Raw, which I would actually prefer, you have Red Dragon retain, right? Get him out of the title picture. And then you have War Machine come in and beat them to establish themselves as the new monster team around here while AOP's on their way out.
Yeah.
Because to me, and this is no offense to Heavy Machinery, but we've even said, like, War Machine's going to make Heavy Machinery obsolete.
Yeah.
And to me, once War Machine beats AOP, that's kind of NXT saying, okay, guys, this is the new monster team everybody has to fear. So I think
Yep.
AOP should lose here. And then their final feud, which would be like a non-title feud, which would be nice for all divisions, would be against War Machine to establish War Machine as a legitimate threat to the title.
I think this would be the first ever clean victory over AOP, wouldn't it? Assuming our prediction of the Undisputed Era winning comes true. Did they beat War Machine clean the first time around when they won the titles off of them? Did I say War Machine? I meant AOP. I meant AOP.
Well, I mean, that match was kind of a clusterfuck because I know there were like, I think there was like a table involved and Nikki Cross got involved. So there was like calamity. I wouldn't say that it was like a straight up clean win, at least in my eyes.
Yeah, because I don't think Adam Cole's going to show up for this match. He's going to be too beat up from the Aleister Black match.
Right.
Unless Sanity somehow gets involved here, which I definitely could see happening, unfortunately. But unless Sanity gets involved here, if the Undisputed Era does win, like we're predicting, it would be the first ever clean loss by the Authors of Pain in NXT.
Yeah. Which makes
and then they would take their second ever clean loss to War Machine. So we're just pile it on, baby.
But I mean, you make an interesting point, and one that I really didn't afford much consideration, and that is Sanity, because they've never responded to being laid out when they were owed their rematch. They are still owed a rematch. So what if, and I'm just putting this out there because I know it's rare for NXT to do, but you never know when NXT is going to be different. What if this match is kind of a smokescreen in the sense that at one point Sanity is going to get involved? That match gets thrown out, and then on an episode of NXT TV or at another takeover, we have.
Or maybe just Regal comes out and makes the match on this takeover a triple threat.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. He, right as the match is about to start, we could hear his music hit and say, "There's one other team that never really got their rematch either," and then it's Sanity. I'm almost tempted to predict that that's going to happen last minute, but you know what? No, I think it's always better to focus on the card in front of you, not the card that you imagine. So I'll still say Undisputed Era for the win, but man, you've really got me thinking with that Sanity variable because, yeah, they really haven't been accounted for, I don't think. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah. I'm glad we got to kind of touch on that. But yeah, all right, let's move on now to our fourth match on this card, the Women's Championship match, Ember Moon, Shayna Baszler. I know we're both predicting Baszler, but I honestly do think that this is going to be pretty damn close to a squash match. I mean, Ember isn't going to look like a complete joke, but I'm guessing Shayna's going to dominate the match. And I don't see the match going for longer than like 7 or 8 minutes. I think Shayna's going to dominate the match. Ember's going to get a flurry of offense and then go for the total eclipse too early and get caught out of the total eclipse into the Kirifuda clutch like you've been predicting to happen and like you want to happen. And tap out, pass out, whatever, doesn't matter. Shayna wins.
You know, dude, I know I've been predicting that to happen, and I still think it should happen. What I'm starting to consider now is if that wouldn't be a better spot for the rematch. Because, I do agree with your sentiments that this is going to be a squash match, and I do think it should be a squash match. I think Ember should really struggle here. One match that comes to my mind, and I think it had a great closing moment, was
Shayna Candice.
No, but I mean that was also fantastic. I was actually going to refer to a men's match when Mark Henry won the world title off of Randy Orton. The closing moment of that match, like Orton was just pulling himself up using Mark Henry, and then he tried doing an RKO, but Henry just tossed him off like he was nothing.
Yeah.
And like I would love a similar spot where like Ember is just pulling herself up. I mean, the total eclipse isn't even on her mind. Survival is on her mind at that point. And then Shayna just like kind of looks at her, smirks, and just locks in that Kirifuda clutch and just finishes it. And then maybe like we do the build, you know, and Ember's like, you know, watching the tape and she's training harder than she's ever has. And you know,
see, that is one thing that you and I definitely agree on. I do think that their rematch is going to happen and it is going to take place on Takeover New Orleans. So that's one thing that we definitely agree on here.
Yeah, and see, I feel like, I mean, this is just my mindset when it comes to monster heels, right? I feel like the babyface that gets devoured by them, if they're a worthwhile babyface, which I think NXT has kind of given the nod to Ember that she is, the rematch should always be more competitive than the initial bout. Because
you know what, though? I'm going to say, because I agree with you that the rematch should always be more competitive than the initial bout. I am going to stick to the guns that were originally yours that I guess I'm taking now, that the Kirifuda clutch reversal of the Total Eclipse should happen in the first match, because that should be Ember thinking, you know, if Shayna can beat me up this much in this little time, maybe I can beat her quickly too. So we get Shayna just dominating Ember for maybe like 4 or 5 minutes. Then Ember gets a flurry of offense, lasts 30 seconds, 45 seconds, maybe a minute, and tries to cap it off with the Total Eclipse, gets caught, taps out or passes out, doesn't matter. And the spot you're talking about where she has to pull herself up by like Shayna's trunks and gives her like that desperation look, that should happen in the rematch, because that's how you know the match was grueling.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, man, because I just feel like with this, here's the thing. With this match, you really can't go wrong so long as you subscribe to 2 principles. 1, Shayna wins, and 2, she looks dominant doing it. And the rest is just the filling. The rest is just how you actualize those ends. I think that spot would be sick. Hell, dude, if I'm being truthful, I even feel like a ref stoppage similar to Dakota Kai would be pretty sick too, because then again, that adds the element of, can Ember Moon come back from this? Oh shit.
That's a great idea. Yes.
Because dude, again, referencing
someone in chat.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Let me talk for a second. Someone in chat, Brandon Best said, I'm thinking they're going to do an Owens-Zayn style match. That would be perfect.
I was just about to reference that feud too, because I'm thinking, remember, with Owens and Zayn with the powerbomb on the apron, like, oh, is Sammy, like, with his back, is he going to be able to come back from this? And he does, and he has more fire than ever. If Shayna is out to try and take Ember's career as well as her championship, that lays the story of, you know, Ember, how are you doing? And I don't want any of that emo crap. Hell, maybe she's even like despondent a little bit. Maybe doesn't even really have much to say. And then she comes back like, I found myself and I'm ready to kick your ass and do all that. Like, yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. So you know what I'm going to do here? I'm actually going to change my prediction a little bit. I am going to hold on to those guns about the choke out, you know, Total Eclipse, but I do think that's going to be the rematch. For this match, honestly, I'm putting all my chips on another ref stoppage. I think Shayna's going to gravely hurt Ember Moon. Ember won't have had to quit, so she'll keep her babyface fire because the referee will step in at her discretion. And Shayna's going to win the championship due to ref stoppage. And I think that's going to make her look like a fucking beast. And Ember having to come back from that is going to be huge.
And imagine, too, because Ember Moon and Kairi Sane and Dakota Kai would all be out with some kind of injury or another. When they're all absent from NXT TV, Shayna has random exhibition matches against local talents or indie girls or whatever, and she wins every single one of them by ref stoppage. Whether it's, you know, she breaks someone's arm, you know, she knocks someone out, she snaps someone's ankle, so just crazy shit. She just keeps on injuring people and causing them to become so defenseless that the referee has to end the match. And that kind of becomes her shtick. Like, she doesn't even need to pin you or submit you. She beats you down so bad that the referee has to save you from yourself.
Dude, I see so much potential in this angle, but I know NXT always does things differently. Well, really, the WWE as a whole do things differently than how we would do them. But I would do exactly what you're saying. And then maybe an actual challenger steps forward. Like my mind immediately goes to Nikki Cross because my mind has this spot where maybe Shayna steps on her arm. And right as the ref's about to go for the bell, like Nikki grabs the ref and she's slamming her own arm back into place. And she
Yeah.
just wants to keep fighting Shayna, but then Shayna chokes her out. And then after Nikki Cross, who's fucking crazy, right? Like, I
Kyrie.
beat the crazy person. Who's left? Kyrie returns. And
Yep.
that's how we cue her return. So, yeah, dude, they could do so much with this shit. And again, this is why Shayna needs to win because
Yeah.
there is passion for possibility with a Shayna title reign. Whereas with Ember, I feel like you really close yourself off if Shayna does not get the job done here. Because then what do? Do you recourse back to the iconic duo? I mean, I love them, but either put the championship.
Well, the thing with the iconic duo is they're so over because they're heels. Like, I don't think you want to turn them face. And honestly, I guess you could turn them face in preparation for a main roster debut, because I think when they do debut on the main roster, they're going to be faces initially. And then I've already said this before, whether it's on Discord or in conversation with you, I don't even remember, but I think you debut on the main roster, the iconic duo, as faces. And after a few months, you have Billy turn on Peyton to try and make a babyface star out of Peyton, heel star out of Billy. But dude, I'm telling you, like, there's, like you said, so much passion for possibility when it comes to Shayna Baszler as the NXT Women's Champion.
Dude, they put that title on her. To me, the women's division once again kind of takes its spot. Well, I really have been loving the heavyweight division, so I'd still say though they'd be a solid number two in terms of my interest behind the heavyweight division, because with Shayna as champion, business will have picked up in a major way. Like, I honestly, dude, I love Ember, but Shayna's just a more interesting character right now. I think if they put the title on Shayna, you've got great representatives in every division, because you've got Undisputed Era repping the tag, Gargano or Almas, which we're going to get to next, representing the heavyweight division, and they're both amazing. And then Shayna is women's champion. Like, every division has a strong leader, and I think that bodes well for NXT TV in this new year. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, but I'm really hoping that Shayna wins, and that's going to be my official prediction, by ref stoppage, because I think Ember needs an obstacle like this.
Dude, when we're done predicting the main event match here, I want us to see if we can fantasy book our Takeover New Orleans cards.
Ooh, that would be interesting, yeah.
Because I have a card shaping up in my mind, and I'm really freaking excited about it. So let's get right into our main event. We're both predicting Shayna Baszler to win the title. Just to recap our picks so far, we both have Velveteen Dream winning. We both have Aleister Black winning. We both have the Undisputed Era retaining. And we both have Shayna Baszler winning the title off of Ember Moon. Let's get to our main event of the evening. Andrade, Cien, Almas versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT World Championship. John, who's your pick?
Before we get to that, let's talk about this a little bit, because I don't know if you forgot or if you were planning to bust it out later, but I tried to remember because it sounded interesting to me. Didn't you say for this preview predictions, unless I'm confusing it with Rumble, that you had a theory as it relates to like Gargano and Ciampa and all this stuff? Didn't you say you had a theory in mind about this match?
Oh yeah. Yes, I do. And I'll tell you about it when I do my prediction. Yes.
Okay, so you just still want me to go and kind of lay my cards on the table.
Yeah, because I have something in my mind that's not going to change with whatever you say.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to remind you because I was super excited about it. So, okay. I've loved the build to this. I think it's been fantastic. Gargano is a brilliant babyface, man. I'm telling you, man, you get a babyface like that. Much like I say about Black and others, it's a license to print money. And I feel like NXT has got a lot of these coming through their system. And that's both a really good thing, but it's also a thing to be tentative about given the workings of the system. But that said, this story has been exceptional. Gargano's played his part to a T. Almost, I'm on edge, right? Because everybody knows how much I love Andrade Cien Almas, and I know you love him too. It's just you've become more of a Gargano fan, which I totally get with the booking and how he's handled it and how he's carried himself. But like, I love Andrade. I want to get to know Andrade better as champion. Right. And that's really where I'm conflicted, right? Because it's nothing against Johnny whatsoever. He would be an amazing NXT champion, no doubt about that. But it's so early in Almas's run. Like, if Almost is coming off of like a 5-6 month reign, even, I'd be like, you know what? Okay, it's time. It's time. Johnny can step up. But Almas is just getting his feet wet, and I see so much wrong with that. And I mean, hell, like you said, Almas doesn't even talk that much. Zelina has been on fucking point with this title reign. But Andrade, where he comes in, he has the ability, which is important. And man, does the guy know how to dress and act the part. I mean, the suits and the confidence and the smarminess. I want to spend more time with it. But that's a selfish emotion, and you've got to look at things objectively. Now, here's the kicker about NXT, and I say this as a compliment. You guys know some of my go-to rules of thumb. Oh, this guy came out on top, therefore, with NXT, it's interesting because even though Gargano came out on top, that's no guarantee that he's not going to win on Saturday. Why? Because when Almas was feuding with McIntyre, he came out on top and he still won the championship. So just because Gargano's come out on top, that isn't to say, ha, in your face, Gargano fans, Almas is insured to retain. No, he's not. It is still incredibly up in the air, and that's why this is hard for me to predict. I don't even want to start thinking about Tommaso Ciampa personally, because I feel like that's really going to fuck me up. So just looking at it for what it is, and I really hate to say this, not because he doesn't deserve it, but because I waited so long for Almas to get here, and I feel like it's going to go away. I'm going to have to pick Gargano to win the championship here. It just feels like that's the conclusion of the story, and I hate it. I hate it. Like, and again, it's not because he doesn't deserve it, but Almas is so good.
Dude, oh my God. How do we do this every time?
We're on opposite sides, aren't we?
Yeah, every time we go into a match where one of us has a guy that's our favorite and the other guy has a guy that's their favorite and they're on opposite sides of each other, we always pick the other person's favorite.
Yeah, dude. Fuck that. So tell me, you've got this theory. Let's hear it. First of all, how have you felt about the build? You know, the people involved.
Oh, dude, the build to this match has been absolutely incredible. Pristine, I would say. Just phenomenal. Yeah. Like this, the build's been basically flawless in my opinion. But the thing is, the build has been so good that they've convinced even you that Gargano can beat Almas for this title.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I, on the other hand, do not think that that's going to happen, because to me, there are two big money matches that NXT is going to get out of this card that they're going to be able to do a Takeover New Orleans. And one of them is way more personal and doesn't need a championship. And the other one is going to crown a new champion.
Right.
So to me, I know everyone's saying, oh, Ciampa's going to beat the shit out of Gargano. Here is the little thing that I wanted to say. How much better? Because Ciampa's the psycho killer, right? He's a psychopath. His whole character is he's not well adjusted from a social standpoint. He's not socially adapt, right? So right. Tommaso Ciampa, I don't think he's gonna just like run out and beat the hell out of Gargano during the match and cost him the match and cause the DQ and all that shit. I think at some point during the match, maybe Gargano is sort of waiting for Almas to get up to his knees so that he can hit him with a super kick, PCS style, to set up for the Gargano escape like he did against Dream, right?
Right.
I think Ciampa is just going to show up in the crowd. He's just going to just walk to the front of the crowd, behind the gate still. Maybe he has a ticket, just kind of stands there and watches, and it's going to be enough to distract Gargano and cost him the match. And then maybe when the match is over, we get the beatdown, but maybe not. Maybe Ciampa just watches on as he causes Gargano to fail and then just walks away, and Gargano starts looking for him and he can't find him because he's not there when he needs him, because that's the story here, right?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
man. So then to me, and yes, for those of you that haven't necessarily been paying attention, I am picking Andrade, Cien, Almas to retain here, but here's the kicker. Takeover New Orleans, Almas versus Black.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, because you can't really deny Black the NXT championship for much longer. Damn. Yeah, dude, what I love about your theory there, besides the fact that Almas retains, which admittedly is a big part of it, I love that there's no physicality between Ciampa and Gargano. I love that it's more psychological rather than direct violence like, say, Zayn Owens, you know, because it really has been about and I hate to like abuse this word because I know how heavy this word is, but it really is about the trauma of Johnny Gargano, of his best friend betraying him and working through that trauma. And imagine, right, the conviction and the confidence of it's behind me, I'm healed, etc., etc. And then you actually come face to face with the source of that trauma and you realize you were never ready at all, that it was just a lie. And now you've really got to face it now. Like, that's a heavy story, but it's a heavy story that a babyface Gargano is completely capable of carrying. And that's what gets me so excited about it. Yeah, dude, like, I'm still going to say Johnny wins, but if your theory is correct, not only is that great for me as an Almas mark, I think that's great for the babyface momentum of Gargano, because then fans are really going to be wanting him to get the title and, take care of Ciampa. It's going to be
Oh, yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn is the best NXT comparison that we have for Johnny Gargano, right?
Right. Yeah.
Would you like to know how many televised NXT championship matches Sami Zayn had before he finally won the damn thing?
How many?
3.
Okay. And this is only Gargano's first.
He lost to Bo Dallas in his first ever NXT championship match on September 12th, 2013. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
That was just a random episode of NXT TV. He kind of started doing stuff with the tag titles and all that kind of stuff. But then at TakeOver Fatal 4-Way, he failed again. That was a year later, September 11th, 2014. He failed again to win the championship because Adrian Neville pulled him out of the ring right when he would have won and pinned, I believe it was Tyson Kidd at the time.
Right.
He had a one-on-one match with Neville on October 23rd, 2014 in another episode of NXT TV. Failed again. He only won the title on December 11th, 2014 at TakeOver R Evolution. Not even 14, 15 months after his first championship opportunity in NXT.
Can I ask you something, Ashton? I'm just curious to get inside your mind about something.
Okay.
So we have, let's just put this TakeOver aside for a second. Let's focus on the aftermath. You said TakeOver New Orleans, Black Almas. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but are you envisioning, hypothetically, Black beats Almas, and then maybe Ciampa beats Black, and then we complete the circle with Gargano beating Ciampa for his NXT championship to finally get that?
No, because I don't think. No, because I don't think that Ciampa and Gargano are going to be in NXT long enough for that full story to play out.
Then that makes sense because that's happened before. One instance that I can think of, I was pushing hard when Bobby Roode was NXT champion that Ty Dillinger was going to end his reign.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen because Dillinger got called up. So, yeah, it makes sense that you would think that. I mean, hell, let me just ask you point blank. Do you even think that we're going to see a long enough run from Gargano that we can call him an NXT champion? Or do you think it's just not going to happen? No.
I don't think it's going to happen. No, I don't think it's going to happen. I think we will see Johnny Gargano Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion, maybe even eventually WWE Champion, but I don't think we're ever going to see Johnny Gargano NXT Champion.
Very interesting. Okay.
Because here's the difference between him and Zayn. Sami Zayn never won a tag title.
Right.
He held the world title for 2 months. Johnny Gargano held the tag titles for 3 months.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So you're picking Almas to retain. I'm picking Gargano to win. But yet emotionally, you're rooting for Gargano to win. And I'm rooting for Almas to retain because, of course, we are.
That's so typical us.
It really is. I'm kind of disgusted, to be honest. But no, in all seriousness, I love your theory. I love your thought process. And again, I love it too because it goes against, not that Zayn Owens wasn't a great feud. It was. I adore that feud. But I'm glad that we're kind of using a different template of like psychological violence in a way rather than just overt physical violence.
Well, yeah, because dude, if you think about it, why in the first place did Ciampa turn on Gargano? Because he wanted the attention to be on him. He didn't want people to think that he was replaceable, right?
Exactly, yeah.
The thing is, if he just shows up to watch Gargano lose, all that does is kind of support his stance that he isn't replaceable, that he was just as important to the tag team, if not more important to the success of DIY as Gargano, because he's basically not actually helping Almas win. He's just watching Almas beat Gargano. And this is in his own mind. Obviously, he would be helping Almas win because he's be distracting Gargano, but he doesn't think of it that way. He shows up, he just wants to watch to see what happens. And then when Almas beats Gargano because of the distraction, all that's going through Ciampa's mind is, well, see, I guess he's not as good as everyone thought he was. I guess that I really was the star of DIY or the more important or whatever, less replaceable, however you want to look at it.
Right.
There's like this psycho killer thing for Ciampa. I don't think that they should go like over the top, like Nikki Cross kind of crazy with that. I think they should.
Oh God, no.
A more nuanced, like what you always talk about, the way Mick Foley describes crazy. Like crazy isn't this guy that comes in screaming and yelling. It's the guy that just, sits on his beanbag chair, butt naked, watching TV at 3 a.m. eating brownies and think that's perfectly okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is normal. Doesn't everybody do this?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah, that's kind of where I want Ciampa to go. I don't actually want to see Ciampa naked by any means, but
no.
I'm sure we have some audience members that would love that. But regardless, yeah, I think they should do more of a nuanced deal with Ciampa. And it's not even necessarily just that's what I want them to do. I think that's where they're going with it too. Because if you go back to Ciampa's promo, he was very fiery and passionate, but at the same time, you could kind of tell that there were little hints of his ROH character in that. And his ROH character was kind of Joker-esque.
Yeah. Where it's like, more than just producing chaos directly, I like to incite the chaos in others, like Harvey Dent and, other people. So, like, yeah, I want to incite the chaos within Gargano and his family. I've already told you, like, I want Candice LeRae involved in that feud. If NXT really had the stomach for it, I would love a segment where, like, Candice is all fiery defending her husband to Ciampa, and Ciampa just kind of smiles at her and he lays her out with a Project Ciampa. And like Gargano is just incensed because more than the NXT champion.
I mean, dude, the thing is, like, that's like the over the top Nikki Cross style crazy that I'm trying to avoid. To me, it would make a lot more compelling television if you had Candice chewing him out and just telling him, what the hell kind of human being are you? Johnny was your friend. You were the best man at our wedding. And then he just has no response, and she beats the shit out of him. Like, she slaps him in the face and starts like doing like the chest slaps and the like pounding on his chest and punching him and slapping him. And he just stands there, and you just kind of see this smile come over him, and then he just walks away.
That would be interesting. It really does depend on what NXT wants to do, because really, to me, the only reason I say like it'd be cool like to have Ciampa do Project Ciampa to Candice is, again, it kind of tells the story like, okay, screw the NXT championship, screw the brotherhood that you and I used to share and what we did with it. You just laid your hands on my wife. Now I know that I have to kick your ass. I have to beat the shit out of you because.
But I don't think Gargano needs that extra motivation though, because he already despises Ciampa. Like, Ciampa hasn't even shown up since he got injured, and he still indirectly cost Gargano 2 matches against Almas because of the goddamn DIY t-shirt that Zelina keeps showing up with.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I really do like your mindset about it. I'm curious if NXT will adopt a similar line. And now all our discussion and us being on opposite sides of the fence is done has made me even more anticipatory of the main event. Like, I think it's going to be a phenomenal matchup with hopefully a great ending. And normally at takeovers, a great ending is what you get. I mean, between debuts, returns, all that stuff, I could very easily see Ciampa having a presence in that main event match. So we'll see what happens. But with that said, that does round out our card. And I know you kind of wanted us to say aloud kind of our musings for TakeOver New Orleans. So what kind of card are you envisioning for that?
So I'm envisioning a card where our main event is Almas Black. Our semi-main is Ciampa Gargano. Our women's match is a triple threat, Shayna, Ember, Kyrie. Our tag titles is TM61 challenging Undisputed Era. And then the 5th match would be a tag team #1 contendership match, AOP versus War Machine, which War Machine would win.
Very interesting. Okay, I'm gonna be a little scatterbrained here. I'm gonna say, in line with me picking Gargano to win the championship.
And you know what? An interesting little twist to that #1 contendership match for the tag titles would be if you added the team of Ricochet and Lio Rush to that.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Or like Lars and Killian Dane, or like something different, you know?
Yeah. All right. So
There's a lot going on in NXT. Like if they would make Takeover New Orleans 3 hours and add another like 2 or 3 matches to it, I would be perfectly okay with that.
Oh yeah, dude. Absolutely. So here's what I'm thinking here, just based on my predictions. We've got Gargano versus Ciampa for the NXT Championship. I'll say Black versus Almas in a #1 contendership match. Actually, no, make that Black versus Almas versus Cole in a #1 contendership match because Cole will find a way to insert himself because he's Adam fucking Cole. To me, he should be just #1 contender by virtue of him being Adam Cole.
Just
So,
existing in that state. I mean, come on.
yeah, you see, you get it, man, you get it.
You know I get it.
Tag titles, I completely agree with you about TM61 versus Undisputed Era. Sounds like a great idea to me. See, this is where I do start to struggle a little bit. Oh yeah, women's championship. I think it's just going to be Kyrie Shayna one-on-one because honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if like Ember versus Shayna wasn't like this big time main event on NXT TV. So I'm gonna consign it to that. New Orleans going to be Kyrie versus Shayna. Let's see what else we got here. How many matches does that bring me up to? Like, what is that? Like 4 matches? So,
Well, you had the #1 contendership match. Your
right, NXT Championship match,
would
tag title
be
match, women's championship. Okay,
Gargano and Ciampa, right?
yeah. So then my 5th match. You know what? I'm gonna be a bit interesting with my 5th match because I think the crowd's really loving Velveteen Dream. I think
Oh,
Velveteen Dream's gonna take on Lars Sullivan.
dude, Dream versus Ricochet.
Oh, dude, that'd be so good. That'd be so good. But I'm thinking more in line of like the crowd's falling in love with Dream, so they kind of turn him face. And
And
then what?
speaking of Ricochet, is he going to be in the front row on this show?
Oh, on this show, yeah, yeah, I definitely see him getting the front row spot.
Yeah.
Just being like, oh hey guys, happy to be here. Um, but yeah, with Dream versus Sullivan on the New Orleans card, like I just see Sullivan on the rise as this monster heel, but because he is a quote unquote monster, like he doesn't have the beauty and the resplendence of the light that Velveteen Dream gives off. So much like Velveteen Dream Black, we're kind of playing with contrasts a little bit, except Dream is the babyface and they want him to survive and beat Lars Sullivan. So I think we can actually make a good story with that. So yeah, that'll be my
Dude, I would love that match. I would honestly probably be picking Dream to win that too, even though he almost definitely wouldn't.
I'd pick Dream to win it too, dude, and that's what I would hope a lot of people would do. So yeah, I think that'll be my 5th match to kind of punctuate my card is Dream versus Sullivan because Sullivan's on the rise, but I really want to maintain Dream's momentum without pushing him too quickly. So
I love that though because I managed to leave Dream off my card. That's why I'm saying like just make Takeover New Orleans since it's the WrestleMania New Orleans or the WrestleMania Takeover. I mean, just make that bitch 3 hours and add 2 or 3 matches to the normal 5 match card that they always do.
Oh yeah, dude. Because I mean, yeah, I mean, look at the acts that I left off. I mean, Roderick Strong didn't make my card. Yeah, dude. If they would just give it time, like that'd be better. But considering that they like the 5 match card structure, I love your card. I feel like my card's at least presentable. So we've got New Orleans in mind, but let's see what Philadelphia answers to those cards and let's see what they actually do with it. So with that said, I've got nothing else to say about Takeover Philadelphia. I think my hype just went up to 9.5 after all these.
Yeah, I think I might be up to a 9.5 as well. Dude. Yeah, I'm really psyched now. And really, not only am I psyched for Takeover New Orleans, but I am psyched as hell for our preview predictions for the Rumble tomorrow.
Oh, dude.
But guess what, though? That's not even our next commentary, because in an hour and 12 minutes at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we're getting back up here and doing our January Q&A, where I don't know if we've gotten any more questions today, but last I checked, we had 53 questions.
Yeah, insane amount as per usual, guys. I got to, again, preview a lot of these questions. I'm actually really stoked for the Q&A this month. You guys really brought your A game with these questions, I'll tell you what. And I'm just now signing into my wrestling Twitter. I may be getting some last-minute questions. Let's see. No, that wasn't one. And James already sent his February questions. James, you mark. But yeah, you guys.
God damn it, really James.
I know, right? But yeah, guys, Q&A at 7 p.m. EST. It's going to be fucking fantastic. And I really enjoyed discussing TakeOver Philadelphia with my cohort and commentator here. Thank you to everybody who joined us. What do you think of our decisions? Am I going off the deep end again with some of my picks? Is Ashton doing it for once? I guess we'll find out on Saturday. But in the meantime, brother, I'm going to hand it over to you to take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember to leave a like before you get out of here. Click on that like button. Of course, you gotta, let us know that you're enjoying the show. Once this is fully processed, you can leave a comment. Let us know what you think is going to happen at TakeOver Philadelphia. Of course, you remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And then once you do, click on the little bell icon to get notified, whether it's on your computer or your phone. Doesn't matter, Dragon Man X90. Every time we go live or upload a video, you can support us by either donating to our Patreon or buying merch at our Teespring store. At Patreon, $3 a month gets you access to the official Twitwell patron Discord, and any money that you donate to our Patreon will accumulate over time, and you will be able to use that then to purchase a request, whether it's a live reaction or a live reaction and a review to a wrestling show of your choosing. And you're also contributing then to the community goal that will allow us to continue reacting to progress every week. Follow us both on Twitter, like the official Twitwell Facebook page, and of course, if you're on Reddit already, check out the official Twitwell subreddit. We will see you guys tonight at 7 for Q&A. We're going to be back tomorrow night at 9 with our Royal Rumble preview predictions. Saturday night, it's TakeOver Philadelphia live reactions. Sunday, it's Royal Rumble live reactions. Monday, we're going to be live reacting to New Japan, New Beginning in Sapporo. And that show is happening on the 27th, so that would be Saturday. And then Monday night, we're most likely live reacting to the post-Rumble episode of the Monday Night Raw. And then Tuesday, we will be live reacting to Progress Chapter 5. And then Tuesday night, we are most likely going to live react to Japan, the post-Royal Rumble SmackDown. Wednesday is just going to be Lucha Rewatch at 5 p.m. No NXT review on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we will be live reacting to New Japan, New Beginning in Sapporo Night 2, the show that's happening this Sunday, the 28th, the same day as the Rumble. And then on Friday, we have a bunch of different matches that we're going to be live reacting to that were requested via Patreon by Cliff 'em All. We've got a stacked next 8 days, people. I can't wait to get through them. And of course, remember to stay tuned because like I said, up next in an hour and 8 minutes now, we will be doing Q&A for January. Again, I'll say it, stay tuned.